Blog Talk Radio.
Hello from the other side.
Now presenting
From the other side.
Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Welcome to the show, everybody. And for those of you who do not know, Erik is going to share some wisdom. Erik is my 21-year-old son who took his life a few years ago, and he's here now to help all of us navigate the human experience. So, Erik, for tonight's show, we'll discuss how to live from the heart, and then he will take calls from his beloved listeners. He loves you guys. So, Erik, first I want to say I love you. And Kim Babcock, thank you so much for being his voice.
Oh, it's always such a pleasure and an honor. He says, I love you, Mom. And Indeed, he loves you guys. If you need reminded here, let this be a reminder here now. He does love you guys, and that's why he's here. That's why he shares. And he continues to give you guys insight and information that he knows would have helped him in his life. He wants to help you guys in ways that he thinks you need. And so tonight's show is interesting. It's about living with heart, and there's a big difference between living with heart and living from the heart. It's a whole different concept. So let's not get confused here, he says.
Yeah, what's the difference?
He wants to talk tonight about, he says, well, Mom, if you live from the heart and heart-centered awareness, it's a gentle compassion that you're always in. He says, like, you're always willing not just to offer it, but you're always in that space so you can receive it from others too. But what I want to talk about, he says, is living with heart, so with passion, with drive, with motivation. How do you do that? And he throws his arms up. He goes, so many people do that. They go, well, how do you do that? What happens when you lose heart in something? You lose faith, you lose passion. He's using all these words like interchangeably as the same, with the same meaning. So if I can teach you guys to always have heart, then it doesn't matter what you're contributing that energy to, you'll always be able to reap the rewards. But you have to understand the energy first to be able to reap the rewards from it. So he says, you guys understand what passion is, right? When you're passionate about something, you're crazy about it, it's all you can think about, you want more of it, you want to spend your time and intense energy with it, no matter what it is. So that's what I want to talk about. That's living with heart and being so aligned with focus, aligned with intent, and being able to use that energy, that motivational, forward-moving energy to continue to evolve through, he says, and be successful. He says, okay, so stop there. He says, I want you to think about that. But I want to talk about, and he slows down his tone. He goes, I want to talk about what happens when you lose heart in something, when you lose faith in yourself in something. Here's an example.
It can't be good. Can't be good.
Yeah, it's a shitty way to feel. He says, kind of like you begin to question everything. You begin to question purpose, the value of something, someone, or even yourself, and it just kind of leads into this downward spiral of thoughts, emotions, and energy that can really suck you in. He says. So
and I bet there's a lot of people out there. I bet there's a lot of people out there that are experiencing this.
Yeah, and honestly, I did. When my husband was home, I kind of got into this weird funk, and I hate it. I hate the way it feels. The thoughts are one thing. I can ignore the thought process, but the way it feels that's hard to ignore. And I was in this space where I'm like, does it even matter what I say? Does it even matter what I share? Why does it even matter? So you get into that contemplative state where you ask questions of worth, he says, and value. And partially, excuse me, he says, because that's the ego that needs fed. because what you're doing is you're begging to understand. You're begging and pleading to understand. But heart, true heart of something or in something, doesn't need to understand. He goes, here we go, let's ruffle up the feathers. He says, true heart doesn't need to understand the why, the purpose. True heart just does it anyway. And again, he's using heart with, like, interchangeably with faith. So when you have faith with something or in something, there's no questioning it. You're just aligned with it so much that it's like it precedes every step you take. It precedes your actions and your interactions with people or things, he says. So when we lose that faith, that motivation, and that heart, that passion, that's because we've gotten hung up somewhere along the lines in the process of needing to understand or needing, like, justification. He says, I want you guys to look around in your life and look at where are you asking to be justified, and why are you asking to be justified? He says, okay, so he's going really big with this. He says, he says, aren't you already enough?
Hold on to your saddle, people.
I know. Sometimes he gets really out there, and this is what he's doing now. He says, when we begin questioning our faith in something or our passion in it, like, why do I even care about this anymore? Then he says, when we get caught up in that phase, that contemplative phase, he says, of questioning and needing to understand, we've forgotten our purpose. It's have you forgotten why you're born? He says, have you forgotten why you live? You're already, these are his words exactly, you're already love in the form of resurrection. Okay, I'm going to say that again. He said it again, but he kind of said it a little differently. He said, you are already love, resurrected as this incarnation. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And he says,
no. Explain that. That sounds really profound, but I'm not sure. It's so hard for me to grasp this in a tangible way.
Me too.
So we are love.
That's why I say I hope
resurrected
it makes sense to you guys, because I'm barely keeping up.
Well, I'm a little slow, so dumb it down for me, please.
He says, so when he's saying you are love resurrected, like love. So what he means by resurrected is it's ever changing, Mom. It's always growing and evolving. It never dies. It just transforms. It changes.
True.
So when you get to that phase of you hit a brick wall and you lose heart in something, don't forget where you came from. You yourself have come from like resurrection, transformation. So when you're in that situation where you've hit a brick wall and you can't see anywhere but black, he says, open your heart, open your heart to have space for, like, that resurrection. You don't need, again, and this is where people get caught up, he says, you don't need to know how, you don't need to know why, where, or when, because then if we're always asking those questions, we're never going to grow past them. We have to go back into having heart and having faith to like, this is what he says, resurrect and transform out of that phase.
Okay.
So he's like, don't worry, I'll break it down where it seems tangible and applicable in your life. But he wants to, like I said, he's getting really big with this message and really profound. He wants you guys to remember, even though you might lose heart in something, or even in your life, in your purpose, in knowing who you are or what you're for, it doesn't mean that love is taken away from you, or it doesn't mean that worthiness is gone. He says,
good.
Having heart in something and losing heart in something just means resurrection is occurring once again, transformation. is occurring once again. So that's something to, he says, I'm trying to change the way you look at stagnancy, the loss of heart, loss of motivation. It's a time of resurrection, because you know that you can't really die, you just transform. Everything and anything just transforms. That's all love ever does. Love being anything with life, and vice versa. So he says, all you ever really do is transform, and in that transformation is where, that's where the key to happiness is. But we, all too often, when we get stuck, Mom, he says, when we get in that phase of, like, you lose heart in something, you lose passion, we go back to the past of, this is how it used to be, how come it's not like that anymore? And we hold on to that instead of letting transformation occur. So always be, so, okay, so here's an example. I don't really know how to put this into words.
Good. I was just going to ask if you can give us a tangible example. That would be great.
Yeah, because he's like, always be present with that stagnancy, so that you can, or not stagnancy, but that slowdown, I guess, or that loss of heart. Be present with it, because the very place where you've lost heart in something is the very place of transformation. So, for example, like I was saying, it was with the husband deploying to Iraq, it puts a lot of things into perspective in a weird way. You think about it, you try to prepare as much as you can, but, man, you really start to think, and sometimes you think too much. And that's what I was doing, and I was kind of like, does it even matter what I say or what I share? Like, and I kind of lost motivation. Like, I don't even need to share anything because it doesn't matter. And it was kind of like trying to find where the worth, again, was with it all, or where, the value in it. And then I kind of just stopped and was like, obviously I hate being in this headspace. I hate feeling this way. So instead of, like, just ignoring it, I took that questioning and kind of listening to what I was going through, and I guess using that as motivation to, using that as motivation to continue. Like, the very place where you lose heart is actually the place where you gain heart. It's just a mind. Oh gosh. Sorry for the language.
Uh-oh.
But
mind fuck. I know.
Yes, it's a mind fuck.
I'll say it for you. I'll spare you.
So it's just like the same place where you lost motivation is where you have to pick up motivation again. That's actually what's motivating you. But when we get caught up here, he's tapping on the temple, then we forget all about what was in here, and he's talking about passion and drive through the heart. So, and he wants to go back and touch on, like, aligning with that drive and staying with it. But don't give up when you get in that space, because a lot of people do, Mom. He says a lot of people get in that space, they lose heart, they run out of steam, they run out of fuel. And then they begin to carry the weight of the whole world on their shoulders. But that was never, he's just kind of rambling. He says that was never your burden to bear anyway. The only thing you should be concerned with is having heart, having faith, and everything else will work itself out. But as soon as we try to basically play the role of God and work it all out, we get in our own way. We steal from ourselves our own heart, our own motivation in that way.
So what advice do you have for those who are in that place, that lack of heart, that lack of motivation, that lack of passion?
He says, first of all, don't run from it. Don't listen to why you're feeling that way, and look it in the face, and be willing to see the silver lining and how you can grow exactly from what's making you feel stagnant. Because I promise there's evolution there, there's transformation there, but you have to be willing to welcome it. Most people want to turn their back to it, Mom, he says. it's kind of like, ooh,
it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable thing to confront.
Here's another example he gives. He's really blunt with this one. He says it's like when someone loses a loved one. You know, they were all happy and godly before, and they know God, and God works beautiful things in their life. And then when they lose a loved one, they blame God and they turn their back on God. So you can't begin to welcome that back into your life until you go back to the very place where you neglected it, Mom. He says that you have to reignite that spark, that connection, right where you put it out, he says.
I see.
So it's otherwise you stuff it down like a pain body, and then it will manifest as something later, illness,
disease,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So when you get in that phase, when you hit a black wall or a brick wall, he says, and all you can see is black, you don't know how you're going to move forward. He says, first of all, if you truly don't know what to do, how to do, when to do, let go of all that. Let go of it anyway. Let go of trying to figure it out, and don't do anything. Just be present. He says, and then he's like, you can talk yourself through anything as long as you can be present with yourself. But as soon as you begin to argue with yourself, you're not present anymore in heart, he says. As soon as you begin to argue, you're like, yeah, well, I would do that, but does it really matter? You know, you argue with your own value, your own worth. And he says, Mom, people do that so much anymore that they confuse themselves. They talk themselves right out of the beauty, the inspiration, or whatever that they had to begin with, he says.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Kind of on the flip side of this, he wants to kind of also quickly address those like with that passion of heart. You know, when you feel, because he says, Mom, there's so many people that ask me all the time, I'm so passionate about this, and my heart could just explode with drive for this one thing, but how do I make it my primary focus in life? And he says, as soon as you have to answer that how to again, you're not taking the leap of faith. You're taking the leap of understanding. He says, which is a broken bridge. The more we try to understand something, he says, think about it like this. Every time we try to understand something, we take away another piece of wood that builds that bridge.
And also if you are, you know, asking how can I follow this passion, then that puts into play, well, maybe you can't. So it
exactly
puts that into the universe.
Right, exactly, and it takes away from what's already there, what already precedes you, which is abundance, Mom, which is success, worth, value, heart.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you begin to question all of those things, you throw it out there. It's like having, you know, you're draining your bank account. You're just tossing it all to the universe. Here, do whatever you want with it. Like wasting what's already there. Perfection is already there. You just have to trust. You have to have heart in it. And
it's so hard
to trust. When you align with that heart, there's absolute abundance. It will precede you in everything you do. But yes, he says you have to trust.
But it's so hard. It's so hard to trust because the human experience is littered with so much betrayal and disappointment and frustration that we're conditioned to not trust.
Yep, that's just it. He says, well, it's all conditional beliefs and patterns that we're used to, and it becomes, Mom, he says, a game of like tit for tat, like, well, because I do good, I should deserve good, and it doesn't work that way. He's like, it's already set before you, and you have to allow yourself in that. You have to accept yourself in that worth, in that value, and in that heart.
All right, anything else on that before we... Oh, go ahead.
He's just kind of rambling. He's like, I know, I'm talking a lot, but he says, like, so many people are struggling with this. I want to get my point across. So I think he got his point across. I hope you guys got it, too.
Anything else you want to add before we take callers, Erik?
he says, just always remember that where it looks like death, it's actually resurrection. It's actually transformation, he says. Be willing to look beyond what you think is death and see the transformation in it.
I love that.
Death isn't real.
Very profound. Yeah. That's in shivers.
Very, I know, me
okay,
too.
Well,
very touching.
We'll go ahead and take the first caller. Have somebody from the 520 area code. Hi there. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
What's your first name?
Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Welcome.
What question do you have for Erik?
You know, I'm not really sure I have a specific question. You know, I'm in a similar situation where I recently lost my son, but it's only been weeks. And I think I just want to know what happened, like what happened in that moment, where he is now, what happened, you know, kind of through his death.
Well, what's his name?
You have that question. You have that question in your mind. Where are you? You know, his first name is Michael.
Yeah.
Okay, Erik. I know that we can't bring Michael forward because Kim has to go through some validation, etc. But you must be able to connect with Michael, Erik. What happened?
He says that's right. When you say that you must be able to connect with Michael, he says he makes me feel like it. This is what Erik is saying and showing me, like it all. Okay, there's a lot going on here. It all changes in the blink of an eye, and Erik is showing me like almost this feeling of like a flash bang, and then everything goes black. So he doesn't describe the type of passing or anything like that, but it's a passing that is unexpected, that we're unaware of. So he's trying to validate that because it's very easy for Erik or me to say, yeah, Erik is saying that he's at peace. But that is such a profound message to you that I have to have Erik validate it somehow. So he's talking about the complete suddenness and unexpected nature of his passing,
right.
And he's labeling it as a tragedy, like as tragic. It's not like it was a slow decline in health. It seems like it was very unexpected, very quick. And Erik is showing, he says two words. Well, he says, okay, first of all, he says impulsive. And then he says, so it must have been, your son must have been similar to Erik in dealing with like the issues of the mind, the issues of the heart, and it seems like your son internalized a lot. And I think he battled with like impulsivity with his emotions. Like something would happen, he would internalize it and become very impulsive with like a conclusion he would draw, Erik says, from an event. So, let's say some friends decided they didn't want to hang out with him. He would internalize that, take it to heart, and let it damage him, and then he would come to a conclusion that he wasn't worthy of friends, and then he would always react in anger. Erik said he had a lot of frustration and anger issues. And I think for him it was a matter of, I hate to say this, but it seemed like it was a matter of, I'll show them. But like a fuck you. Yeah. Pretty much. But I don't think Erik is saying, but he didn't understand, like he wasn't thinking clearly at the time of his passing, and I don't think he understood, just like me, that there is a line that you cross where you are invincible. You can't process, the human mind, he says, can't process what would happen if I die. The human mind can't process that. You can't. It's not known. So even if one takes their own life or their actions lead to their passing, that part can't be processed, especially with an ill mind.
Right.
Well, so where is he now? Where is he now, Erik? And
he says,
can you help? Oh, go ahead.
It's okay. He says he's at peace, Mom. He's here and he's at peace. he says, and that's why Erik.
Can you
is
show
offering,
him the ropes? Can you help him out?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's why Erik is offering this information of, like, his thoughts, his feelings, and your son's emotions before his passing to validate that he is at peace. So, I think for him, it's a transition that it seems like on his part he wanted, but now that he's here in this way, in this new life, it's a whole new understanding that he's opening himself up to, but in much gratitude. So Erik says that he's at peace, and he's grateful for the information he has access to now. Did he leave behind a sister or a girlfriend?
Yes. Yeah, a
like
girlfriend and a sister. Yes.
Okay,
so
it must be
his
sister. Sister was the first reference that Erik is showing your son having a connection to. So just know that Erik is pointing this connection out because it's what's important to your son, as to who he's present with, where he's present, who he's helping, that sort of thing, through this whole experience. Because he says he's speaking on behalf of your son. I know and understand the collateral damage that's happened. The he says, like, multiverse of like effects, like the dynamic effects of his passing.
Yeah.
So he's with those who need it most when they need it. So just know that he is very much at peace, and now he's kind of coming into that phase of like, through his own understanding, passing that on to his family to bring them peace. So
okay, it's so important to me. One thing I've learned since losing Erik is that you can continue to, air quotes losing. You can continue to have a relationship. Does Michael want to continue to have a relationship, and what is the best way for them to communicate?
Right, absolutely. Erik says, first of all, you need to know and understand, Lisa, that this isn't because of you. This isn't because you fell short or you didn't do something right. So you have to let that burden go.
Right.
This was completely separate and individual from, there's no blame. There's nothing like that, he says, so you don't carry that. And as far as, like, the best form of communication, Erik says to tell you the most interactions you're going to see right now are through smell and through dreams. So be mindful of what your dreams are telling you, who's dreaming what, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he just interrupted me and said, but acknowledge your daydreams too. It's not just night dreams, daydreams too. And then through smell. So the smells that remind you of him are going to be experienced throughout the day, like in an environment where, there's no explanation for that smell, basically.
Yeah, like when I smelled pot the other day.
Probably, yeah.
There we
go.
That's it. There we go.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And that's
well, he's still around. He just doesn't have a body, or the mental or physical ailments that go along with having a body. So he's the same.
Right.
He always was, Lisa. Only better.
Right. And there's something about, too, I need to acknowledge, like, I don't know if he lived with you at the time of his passing or if there's a space for him in your home, but there's something about his room, or I don't know why I feel like I need to talk about his room. So maybe that's something that you could figure out or ponder, I guess. But Erik says to mention his room, his space, his personal space, his room.
Does he want something done about it?
He wasn't living with me, but I do have, stuff of his and his ashes, obviously, in a certain space in my home.
Okay, so to me that resonates more, the latter, where you said ashes in a space, like that's what Erik is calling his room. So, but when you said, is there something to be done with the room, it's more of a feeling like wherever his room is, like, pay attention to what you experience there, because he still is very connected in that sense. Like, so if his cremains are, in the living room, that's what he calls his room, and that's where he's very present. So Erik is just trying to get you to be mindful of that, I guess. Pay attention, he says.
Okay, well, I hope that helps you, Lisa.
I hope so, too.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you, okay?
I appreciate it, Lisa. I appreciate it.
And I know what you're going through, and I'll be praying for you, okay?
It's hard. It's hard.
Oh, God, I know, girl. Oh, God, I know.
My kids are my everything. He was my, it's hard.
No, I know.
It's hard,
I
but
totally
listening to this show has definitely, it's helped me a lot, and I appreciate what you guys are doing because it makes a lot more sense to me, and it gives me a lot more peace of, knowing where he's at.
All right. Well, just let me know if there's anything we can do.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.
Take care, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I remember those rough weeks, months, years.
Sure. I can imagine.
All right. We'll take somebody from the 406 area code. Hi there. Welcome to the show.
Oh, my gosh. Hello, Elisa. Thank you.
Hi. Sure.
Yeah.
Hi.
What's your first name?
This is Desta. You can call me Shanna. That was my given name.
Desta. Hi, Desta.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi,
what question
Kim.
do you have for Sir Erik?
Oh, Sir Erik, I have to ask about my higher self to please give me guidance. Can Erik help me make the decision regarding my son and my living situation with my youngest son? Do I let him go with his dad right now, or go my way, or do I stay with his dad to be with him, or do I? I don't. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, Erik is just showing he's like, I like this chick. So just know that there's something in your energy that really resonates with him. It's not that he favors one person over another. It's just when your energy is close to his in some way, he'll show that. He'll show that resonance. But he says, so first of all, you need to understand, no matter what you're going through, I'm your friend. He says, I know you might not be able to hold my hand or sit down and see me, but I'm your friend. He says,
hugged me for the first time tonight before the call.
Oh.
He says to tell you, he's very blunt about this situation, and he says to tell you that you are holding yourself hostage in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So I'm not quite sure what that means to you, but he says that you're holding yourself hostage, believing that if you hold yourself in some sort of prison, that ultimately you'll be rewarded for it. He says, no, you and I both know it doesn't work that way. The more you hold yourself hostage, the more you're going to continue to be a hostage and always feel like you have to leverage something to get something else, So it's an illusion that you can't. Don't fall for that trap, he says. It's not like you do good, you deserve good. It's not a deserving world here that we live in. So don't hold yourself hostage thinking that because you've done that, that the outcome will be, because you're in a very unhealthy place, he says. And he says you're keeping yourself there for a lot of reasons, for fear. But he says what he shows you doing is he shows you becoming very independent, pulling yourself out of this situation independently. Completely independently. I don't know what that means to you, but I see you by yourself. Now, ultimately, whatever bonds, it seems like there's a lot of harsh, I guess that's a nice way to put it, harsh energy that's bonded, creating these bonds between family members. And it's like you find your way out, and it seems like you begin that ripple effect. You get out of this situation, and you begin that ripple effect. So he's showing you kind of breaking these chains, breaking these bonds of energy that's keeping everybody tied up, unhappy and miserable.
Wow, thank you.
he says to stay with someone, to be close to your son, or it's just a very unhealthy hostage situation that you're keeping yourself in for no good benefit. He says, I know you could argue and say, well, the benefit is I get to see my son, but ultimately you're going to see your son anyway, so why hold yourself like a prisoner, he says. It's like being a prisoner of your own beliefs, though, like believing it'll work out a certain way because of this or that. But ultimately, you know this, he says, when you do good for yourself, you manifest more good for yourself. So let go, like set those bags down and quit carrying that baggage. He says, lighten your load. It's affecting your health, he says, like you're there's a lot going on with your health, too. There's a lot going on. So you, and there's already opportunities, though, too. Like, I don't know if you're actually literally thinking about, like, moving physically your residence or, like, moving out or something, but he shows you, like, leaving or that situation, like your living situation changing. And as you, there's already opportunities. So keep your eyes open. He says, be aware. He's trying to show opportunities for your own movement, your own growth.
Okay.
So I hope that helps, and I hope it answers your question, but, man, there's a lot. There's a lot.
I have to let my son go to Florida if that's what's meant to be, and I've always taught my son that even when we're not together, from birth, I knew to tell him this, that even if we're not together, we're together.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so crazy that you say that, because that's what Erik said when you're talking about, you know, staying with so-and-so to see your son. He's like, well, whether he's with you or not, he's always with you. He's like, you know that. So now that you know, he says, time to free yourself.
That you say that, because I looked at my book and it says, what your angels, you to know, and it's an angel book, and it's anyway want you to know, right as you said that. So this is just perfect.
Wow.
And I am so grateful. You guys, thank you so much.
Dexter, for calling in.
You're so welcome.
I love you.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Oh, bye-bye.
Oh, sweet lady. All right, let's take somebody from the 330 area code. I'm going to click on it twice here. Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm fabulous,
Hey.
Elisa. This is Bella, and I first wanted to say thank you, Elisa, for this platform. You have brought so many topics that I have loved and some that I've struggled with over the years, but it's spurred me to think more and to resonate more and to connect more. And I just want to give you a shout-out from the bottom of my heart. And you too, Kim.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that means a lot to me.
Oh, well, I appreciate you.
What do you want to ask Erik?
Well, Erik, my question is with regard to my purpose as it dovetails with the whole New Earth and 3D to 5D transition. I've heard some things and read some things that there's going to be, of course, the shift, but something happening in August or September. But overall, it's just, what is my purpose in that whole conglomerate in this life?
Erik says, he says your purpose is to, he's showing you, okay, so he's speaking with image, which is pretty cool. He's showing you holding hands with people. That's my sign for, like, creating community. So he's showing you having this purpose of, like, think of yourself like the glue that holds a community together. So it's like you establish, you create a sense of community, but you also feed that sense of community. You keep it going. So in example, like what Elisa does, she's created this entire community of spiritually minded, metaphysical, quantum physics kind of, interested people, like this whole community that shares, grows, and, get married and have babies. So, but I think that with you, like your purpose in this whole thing is to have like a similar cause. Like you're the glue that holds this community together, and the community being that of like there's healing purpose in it. He says healing purpose, and it's through like intuitive thought. So not to get too wrapped up in what you read and what you think about after you read, but it's like downloading information. So there's still a lot of energy in the headspace, but it's intuitive thinking. It's not relying on man-based thinking. I don't quite know what the difference is, but it's like you don't rely on your own thinking, your own understanding, and theories of this earth. You kind of go beyond that and download information, and that becomes like the healing effect. You create this community that also is the same, but you're the glue that holds it together. So,
well, can you give her some tangible steps? Can you give her some tangible steps? Like, what is she meant to do specifically?
Well, he's showing you, like, as you begin to see people now, like in your physical life, suggest certain things or mention certain ideas in regards to healing, in regards to like esoteric beings. Understand that that's your community coming together. So what should you do? He says, that's not a good way to put it. He said, open your mouth, talk, share, because that's what people are afraid to do. So you're going to lead by being the one that says what everybody else wants to say, but they're afraid. And by you speaking to other people and sharing that common ground, that kind of gives them that comfort, that confidence, he says, to do the same. He says it might be someone that you pass by that you barely know at a bookstore, but they mention something that ignites that conversation, that thinking. So, and you say, oh yeah, well, you know what? So, some steps that you can actually do to begin to build and create this community is, he says, flip the tables for a minute, turn the tables. He says, if you were on the outside coming in, wanted and needed that sense of community, what would make sense to you? What would you want? A safe place to share, a safe place to talk, a safe place to exchange and interact energetically. So, because again, it seems like there's a healing thread to this group energetically. There's something with healing involved, energy healing. So he's showing you kind of like listing out different steps that you would want to come into as a community. But it seems like you're going to spearhead this, like you're going to be the glue that holds it all together.
Okay. Very interesting.
That's very, sounds like you got a very important mission, girl.
Exactly. Just figuring out how to connect the dots. I appreciate it, and you've given me so much food for thought.
He says, just remember, sometimes the dots will come together themselves. You don't always have to figure out how to connect the dots. He says, just hold space for purpose. Hold space for that purpose.
Okay, I will. Thank you, Erik. Thank you, Lisa Kim.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, she's got an important mission ahead of her. Wow.
Really interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, here's one from the 910 area code. Hi there.
Hello, Elise. Hello, Kim. Hello, Erik. This is Belinda.
Hey, Belinda. What's up?
Welcome.
Thank you. I feel like his entire message tonight was for me.
Oh.
It helped so much.
That's
awesome.
Because I'm going through a divorce, and I'm letting go of things that made me feel bad, and I thought I'd given up on love, but I haven't.
Oh, he's like singing that song, like something like "Don't give up on love because love hasn't given up on you" or something like that. He's kind of talking about transformation again. Like, love doesn't die. It doesn't go away. It just transforms. It changes. Change with it, he says, and you'll continue to grow. You'll continue to move forward.
Change for the better.
That's right. Do you have a question for Erik that he can help you with?
If he has a message from my higher self.
Sure. This is interesting. This is what I hear. So I ask him just to consult your higher self what information is most prevalent, like that you need to hear right now. It seems like it's in regards to your health, your well-being, but not just your physical health. It's like your emotional well-being. Well, both of them, he says, combine them. It's time to put them on the front burner now, he says, not the back burner. So, again, Erik consulting your higher self to pull this information forward. But it's the little things like, you know what, I really like this kind of coffee, so I'm going to go down to the coffee shop and enjoy myself getting this cup of coffee. Like doing little things like that for yourself, for your own emotional well-being, needs to be in the forefront now, because I think for the longest time it's been on the back burner. And he's showing you kind of, he's kind of giggling, Erik is, because he says it's funny watching people get used to that, like get used to being self-loving, where before it was such a foreign thing, it was such a foreign concept, because it was exhausting emotional resources to give that to someone else. So now when you take time and you look at yourself and you have time for yourself, you go, wait, this is foreign territory, this is new to me, how do I do this?
And some people feel guilty about that too, don't they? I mean, I do sometimes. Right. Like, oh, I want to take a bubble bath, but oh, wait a minute, I have to tend to the kids, the grandkids. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be. He goes, just like my mom said earlier, what she was talking about. If you have a good relationship with yourself, you have a better relationship with other people. So
and with life.
Right. That's what he's talking about. You cultivating now. It's not just like, you know, eat healthy and exercise and put that on the forefront. It's a little bit deeper than that, and it's more about accepting that yourself in that space. So put yourself on the front burner, he says, not the back burner. It's funny how he says that.
Belinda comes first. Belinda, you come first, girl.
It feels good too.
He says,
all right, well, take care of yourself, babe,
it's okay.
and treat yourself. Treat yourself with love.
That's right.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome, Belinda. I hope it helps.
Talk to you later.
All right, love you guys.
Love
Bye-bye.
you too.
Love you too.
All right, let's take somebody from the 832 area code. Gosh, I think that's it. Is that my neck of the woods? 832 area code. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Hey, are you from Houston?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, awesome.
Goody, my hometown. Awesome. So, what is your first name?
Hi, my name's Andre. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hi, Andre.
Welcome. Thanks
Hi.
for being here.
So, what do you got
Tim.
for
Hi,
Erik?
Erik. I would like to ask if there's any messages from me and my girlfriend.
Sure. What's your girlfriend's first name?
Perida.
What was that? Jada?
Perida.
Oh, Perida. Okay.
Oh,
what a
pretty
name.
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I can't even acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge this part first. Erik is really strong with, he's trying to show me writing. He wants me to talk about writing. I don't know if you write in a journal just for personal reasons, if you write for a blog. I don't know what this writing is, but he's encouraging you to write and exercise creativity through writing. So I don't know if you already do or if it's going to be a brand new thing, but he's showing you.
Yeah, maybe it's something new. Maybe he needs to. Maybe he doesn't and needs to. Yeah.
In this way. Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll get to know yourself much deeper in this way. This is, he says, it sounds like a generalized message that anybody could do, but no, he's like, I'm talking to you, man. So that set aside for you and...
Wait. I hate to interrupt, but is getting to know himself through writing of any sort imperative to his relationship with his girlfriend?
Yeah, that's insane. I swear. See, you're channeling him. It's so funny.
Wow.
Because what he's showing is like when you write and you begin, and even if it's just writing down your thoughts about the day or your emotions, and like, this happened today and I can't believe, I had to go through this, and boy, it was crazy. And then later you go back and you read that and you reflect. You learn about your personality type. You learn about your communication style, he says, and that's what fosters like a deeper connection or a more in sync connection in your relationship. Because it seems like there's just some energy that needs to be mended. As far as like communication and being on the same page. So, and he says that you could recommend this to her too, but I think for you, most importantly, to get to know yourself, your styles, like your communication style, this is going to be a really important part of getting to know you. As you do, you'll be able to share that better in the relationship, and that kind of like bridges the gap, like the communication gaps, the like the ideas. I don't know if you guys are just having different ideas about life or different wants or just on a different page about some things, but he's showing you guys like mending that after you.
Should he share his journal with her? Should he share his journal with her on a daily or a weekly or whatever basis?
Yeah, Erik is showing him sharing like your summarization, if that's a word, like summarizing what you wrote and going, this is what I wrote and this is what I'm getting from it, and then sharing that with her, like how you're learning and growing. And I think it's just going to really strengthen the relationship. It seems like that communication.
Wow, it sounds like an awesome idea.
Needed.
It sounds like an awesome idea.
Yeah, it does. Like a very effective way to keep going, to keep moving forward. So, but there's communication that needs to happen. He says there's some communication gaps. So,
okay.
I hope that helps you, and I hope that it mends that energy that needs mending between you two.
Is there any
will everything
other
be okay,
message?
Erik? Erik, if he does that, will everything be okay with his relationship?
He says, yeah, they just have to move past the doubt. They have to move past doubting, like what's next, or who are we? Are we meant for each other? Like all of those questions that can surface, and conditionally through different conditions. You have to get past that doubt. So, but I think once you write, once you reflect on who you are, the type of person that you are, and the characteristics that you carry, I think that'll help you move past that doubt, both of you. Because it seems like your partner too is needing that insight. So when you share with her, I think it's going to change things in a good way.
Maybe she needs to do the same thing. Maybe she needs to learn more about herself as well.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't hurt. It sounds like a really, really productive idea. Very cool.
And not that difficult. Seriously. All right, Andre, I hope that helped you.
I hope it helped you.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, Erik and Kim. Thank you, Miss Message. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You bet, sweetie.
Take care.
Okay, I don't think we don't have time for another call. We don't have time for another call. So just want to see if you, Kim, want to share anything about yourself and upcoming events.
Sure. As you guys know, you can find events on my website, upcoming events where I teach, talk, and share through these different workshops. But the most fun is the channeling spirit for you guys and answering your questions, connecting you with your loved ones, and giving that power back to you so you know how to do it too. And these workshops and events, they're all on my website at kimbabcock.net. And also you can find links and information to my book that I just released called Inside Out. It's just a book that helps you see past, through, and beyond circumstances to always have inner peace, no matter what kind of crap you're going through in life. So check it out on my website at kimbabcock.net and let me know what you think.
It can be life-changing. That seems like a life-changing subject. Awesome.
I hope so. I truly hope it helps. So thank you so much.
Can you guys check out
yet again?
Sure. And check out Erik at channelingerik.com. That's Erik spelled with a K. Plus, join his Channeling Erik blog members Facebook group and the Channeling Erik Facebook page. We also have the Channeling Erik Mediums Facebook group, and also a prayer group for Channeling Erik too, for those of you who need a little support and prayers from others. So I love you guys, and Erik, I love you so much. I miss you, baby.
He says, I love you, Mom. Big hugs. He's like, big hugs.
Okay, so, big hug. And Kim, I love you too.
Pleasure. I love you too. And I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Yeah,
take it easy and have an awesome 4th of July weekend, you guys.
You guys do, yes. And take care of those kitties.
I will. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
The Beauty Brand's annual leader sale is here. Save up to 74% on fabulous salon brands like Biolage, Redken, Hemp's, and Paul Mitchell. Over 180 of your favorite shampoos and conditioners, starting at just $13.99 each. Visit beautybrands.com. The Beauty Brand's annual leader sale is here. Save up to 74% on fabulous salon brands like Biolage, Redken, Hemp's, and Paul Mitchell. Over 180 of your favorite shampoos and conditioners, starting at just $13.99 each. Visit beautybrands.com.